One of the really big questions that I've been contemplating and doing my best to come up with an answer on is what I would recommend to someone else who is non-sacral, whether that be a projector, a manifestor, or a reflector in human design, for how they should approach being more aligned and not staying in their conditioning when we live in this world that's full of generators and manifesting generators. We're living in this world that's designed for people that have that consistent sacral energy. How do you approach your life and especially your work in a way that allows you to stay aligned, and what steps I would give someone? And it's a really tricky question because I don't actually believe that there is some predetermined list of steps that if you do this, then that, then you're going to be successful. And I think so many people are just looking for that quick, give me the answer and tell me the steps to do so that I can be successful. And I think especially if you find yourself in a similar in-between stage where you're releasing that old identity, you're releasing that old way of being, but you haven't fully stepped into what's on the other side of that. You haven't really stepped into that next door and fully stepped into your new identity and your new way of being. And you're kind of in that in-between space, or the hallway, if you watch the video where I talked about being in the hallway, but when one door closes and but another one opens. And from a marketing standpoint, or from a business strategy standpoint, my mind, all of our minds think that's what we need. We need those steps. We need those steps to follow that will lead to our success, that will lead to that alignment, that will lead to the money, that will lead to the invitations if you're a projector like me. And what do you do when you're doing your best to stay aligned, you're doing your best to follow strategy and authority, but the invitations aren't coming? And I think it's really important to just first notice, which is what I've definitely been doing in the last couple of weeks. When you're in that place and the invitations aren't coming and the money's not coming like you think it should or you think it could, notice what those patterns are, those patterns of your old conditioning, that pressure that you feel to figure it out from your mind, or to have that list of steps, or to look for someone else to give you the answer, the permission to pursue a certain path. And an invitation requires someone else, right? And so that's one of the things that I personally have found challenging about being a projector. Definitely a projector that has developed life survival skills of just not trying to depend on anyone else, because usually the people in my life tend to not get me, not see me, not appreciate me, not value me, or maybe let me down. And most of the relationships in my life usually lead to me feeling really bitter, which is the not self theme for projectors. And so I can remember being, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8, and having the conscious thought. I can remember where I was standing in our house on the stairs with the carpet and the, half painted wall and the swatches of the colors standing there. And I remember thinking that I just needed to learn to depend on myself and not expect anybody else to come in and help me or support me. And I think for most of my life, I've tried to live in that place of being really independent and self-sufficient and taking care of everything, and just getting really good at carrying the burden myself and pushing through and doing hard things. And I've taken great pride and joy in doing things that I feel are really hard and really challenging, and proving I can do it and proving I can be strong. And to find out that the strategy as a projector is to wait to be invited, that requires someone else to acknowledge me, to see the value, and then invite me to be their guide, because that's the role of a projector. And so in my mind, in my head, there's always been this battle between wanting to be independent and feeling like I need someone else to come in and see me and invite me and acknowledge me. And that's a hard place to feel like I can't just control that. I can't control who sees me and what they think and whether or not they feel inspired to invite me. And so having a strategy that requires someone else to be involved, definitely that there are times where that's really hard. And also, now that I have this understanding that I do, that the more time I spend in misaligned energy, in not letting myself honor my energy and pushing and proving and all of the things that I personally have done that have been from a misaligned place, from my conditioning, from proving and all of those things, the more time I spend in that energy, the longer I actually hold out those correct invitations, the longer it's going to take for someone to actually see and acknowledge and recognize and invite me. And so when you find yourself in this place where you're attempting to stay aligned and to wait to be invited and figuring out what to do, it's challenging because we also don't want to come to this waiting to be invited. Has nothing to do with letting your mind try to come in and strategize and use logic and reason, or study what other people have done. It doesn't come from asking other people's advice or hoping someone else is going to come in and save you. And the longer that we stay making decisions and using our energy from motivation that comes from any of our conditioning and any of our not self, then invitations don't come. And it's really hard to just trust that waiting to be invited and not doing all the things that you see work for other people or that have worked for you in the past or that your mind thinks should work. It's hard to imagine that not doing those things that has maybe only had minimal success in the past or maybe no success at all, that not doing anything is going to be what leads to your success, is going to be what leads to drawing in the right people and getting those invitations. And waiting to be invited doesn't necessarily mean that you do nothing, even though sometimes that's where our mind goes. It just means I need to do nothing. If you are finding yourself in a place where you're exhausted and you're worn out and it just getting out of bed feels too hard to do and doing daily activities feels too hard and all you want to do is take a nap, then taking a nap is probably the right thing to start to recover your energy and wait for that invitation to come in or wait for that spark of energy. And if you're not quite at that place where all you want to do is take a nap and go to sleep and shut the whole world out, then you want to notice what things you do feel inspired to do, what things do make you feel energized. Or maybe you ask yourself, what if I could do one thing today, what would make me feel most successful? Or if you're a manifestor, and the signature emotion for manifestor is peace. So then you might ask, what if I did this one thing today, what would give me the greatest sense of peace? And reflectors is surprise or delight. And so there isn't just some framework or some blueprint that you can follow that leads to success. It all comes to really looking within. The answers can only come from within, and the answers do require you to stop doing things that are from the place of your misalignment, from the place of your conditioning, from your not self, from maybe for you, like me, it's proving energy or not wanting to look a certain way. Maybe there's an identity that you're trying to live up to because of it's the identity that you think like you need to be professional or you need to work hard enough, and it's really just starting to recognize those patterns and know that in the beginning you might not actually see the tangible results of that, but just kind of peeling back the layers of those old habits and patterns. And for me, I think I've been working on developing this aligned success curriculum. I have 2 certifications that I've created. One that is for people that lead small business teams, and another one is just to be able to understand yourself. So someone who already works in a small business team or would like to work in a small business supported by someone who understands human design and has been trained to support you and making sure you're in the right roles, staying in your zone of genius, not trying to do things from that place of proving or pushing too hard. And, in me trying to get these certifications and get my work out there and build and develop my business and work towards the bigger vision that I have of one day having networking events where I bring people that have come through either of the certifications together and help small business teams find their right business team, right? To whether, you're the leader and you want to find your right support people, or you want to support a small business that believes in working aligned and staying in your zone of genius. And so I have this big vision of creating these big networking events and bringing people together and letting the projectors get invited and recognized and giving all of the generators and manifesting generators something to respond to and feeling satisfied in the work they do, and everyone getting to do the work that they love, where they feel fulfilled, they feel valued and appreciated, and seeing those small businesses thrive and rise together. But in trying to do that, one of the things that I've recognized is that the first step is me approaching that from my own alignment, from me living what I've been teaching and what I do teach and what I do believe will help other people. And me not doing that, me working too hard or pushing too hard or trying to prove or trying to get people to understand, it just makes sense that, of course, me doing it in that energy isn't going to work. It's not going to bring in the invitations. It's not going to bring in the income and the success. And it's not going to help me to bring my body of work out into the world. I don't know if you're familiar with Melanie Ann Layer, but one of the things that she says that I think is brilliant is that leaders are bridges and bridges get tested. And so that's the period of my life that I'm in right now, where if this is what I want to be a voice for, if this is what I want to bring out to the world, and this is what I believe in, then I have to I have to be that bridge, and I have to prove that I can stand on that bridge that I'm creating. And so that's what I'm doing my best to do right here, right now, is stop letting my mind trying to figure it out, trying to control the outcome, trying to use logic and reason and strategy, and really just catch myself when I fall back into my old patterns of working too much, of trying to prove, of trying to figure out the right thing to say, of letting that pressure of like hurry up and get things done so that I can be free of the pressure and all of those things, so that I can be the evidence of this work actually working, that someone should take the time and the energy and make the investment to understand their human design, to help them find the work that they're meant to do and find their own fulfillment and satisfaction and success and peace through being their most aligned self and finding their own version of aligned success and finding the team that they're meant to work with, so that they get to just stay in their own personal zone of genius with their natural gifts and strengths. And so, yeah, so that's what I'm doing, and recognizing all of the ways that it was challenging for me at first in these videos and in this series to show up in my own alignment, and starting to peel back those layers of all of the ways that I wasn't doing that. So this video definitely is really long, way long enough. I'm going to end it here, but this is definitely something that you'll continue to hear about, I'm sure, as I stop coming with a plan of what I'm going to say and just let myself show up, because really this is the work. This is what it is. This is aligned success right here. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.